Hello to all you magic makers out there. I'm back again. Welcome to Touch of Magic, where we explore everything magical, mystical, mysterious, and metaphysical. I'm Marissa DiAradia, your host, and our segment today is called Witch Talk Wednesday Living the Craft, where we meet and chat with modern witches to discuss their path to magic and get some helpful advice, tips on living a magical life. All of this from real witches walking their own path. Today, we're here with Allison and Ian Lovecraft, who we affectionately call the LoveCrafts in our local community. Ian and Allison Lovecraft are a staple in the Southwest pagan community, and they're here to discuss their involvement in the community, their practice, how they live their lives, and all sorts of interesting things that they do to implement witchcraft into their daily lives and their upcoming projects. Hey guys, how are you? Welcome.
Good, thanks. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah. I'm excited. These are two of my favorite witches in Las Vegas, by the way, guys, just so you know. So I'm going to, pick your brains a little bit and see what we can share with the people watching about how you witch. All
Okay.
right.
Good.
So the first thing that I wanted to ask you guys, like, what's your spiritual background? Which I actually already know, but they don't know. So tell them a little about your spiritual background and like what drew you to witchcraft. I guess, start off Allison, then Ian, you go.
Okay. So for me, I actually was raised fundamental Baptist. So it was pretty awful and mostly traumatizing, I guess I would say. And so I had like kind of abandoned everything until I met Ian, and like I don't know, he like very slowly introduced me into different witchcrafty things, I guess.
I chipped away over
Yeah.
the years.
I assume it was to not scare me because I'd had such bad like religious trauma. So I mean, I don't consider it as like for me, it's not really a religious connection. It's more so than a craft connection. So yeah, so that's how I got into witchcraft, was just through Ian. I started learning, and then I was like, oh, this all makes sense, and like things from my past started to make sense. So things that I would question, or things that I would say, or things that I would do started to be like, oh, that's why I would say those things, or that's why I would do those things. It's because I had always had this inkling towards this thing, and it was always stamped down my whole life. So
Right. So yeah, so it was definitely just an immediate connection for you when you started realizing this
yeah, it was like
resonates with me.
so familiar to me that I was like, wow, this is what it should have been the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Um,
awesome. How
kind
about
of like
you?
kind of like Allison. I grew up in the South as well, so like the middle of the Bible Belt.
Right.
Not not that our family was really religious, but like when you live there, it's just everywhere. It's just the culture. It's just that's how things
Right.
are. Everything is pretty much Baptist and Christian, definitely Christian, but mostly like Baptist and stuff. Um, and it never clicked with me. And also, I grew up in the middle of the Satanic Panic and all that stuff, so everything
Yeah.
there was bad. Obviously, being a kid in the 80s and early 90s and stuff like that, you want to buck the system. So looked into some things, found some books, and then took a break for several years, for a long time. Whenever I moved out here for a while, and then kept trying to touch base with the community here, and it was hit or miss. And then finally, I think our big touchstone was like finding Sin City Witches, because your group is a very open group, an accepting group. So we were able to get in there, and we just flourished ever since then.
Oh, you guys, honestly, I'm going to tell you, the Lovecrafts were with Sin City Witches from the beginning almost. And honestly, such a great contribution. I'm so glad you found us because they're amazing. And yes, we want everybody to feel comfortable. That's what I think a lot of the problem is with a lot of the, even some of the pagan groups or the witch, covens and stuff. I think when you've got something super structured and super organized, people don't feel welcome. They don't feel like it's something that they can learn and grow and do their own thing. And a lot of people aren't looking for that dogma that you find in, structured religions. So,
Yeah. Go ahead.
One thing I think that works really good with Sin City Witches is being somebody who is very socially awkward and having a lot of anxiety around people. when you go into a big group, like let's say if you're going to like a structured coven group to try to meet people, everybody there is pretty much going to know everybody. So you still kind of feel like you're on the outside, even though you may not be, and they may be nice and they may be great. Like just if you have anxiety, your anxiety brain, just makes you weird. But with Sin City Witches, like when we first just started doing book club with you guys at the Denny's, it was easy from the get go. We just had to make sure that there was somebody we knew that was going to be there for the first couple times. Then after that, we got to know you, got to know everybody else that was around there at the very beginning when we started coming around.
So crazy.
I think that the book clubs were really kind of a important milestone in growing and learning, because those type of discussions made it really easy to figure out what our craft individually was. Like mine has changed over the last few years, like the things that I put stock into, or the things that I do or practice have changed. Like I said, I kind of very much turned away from the whole like worshiping a god or anything, and I work more like elementally. I work more with energy than anything else. So getting to talk to people about different perspectives and see like what everyone else kind of contributes is so nice. And it's so nice to have that and have it where everyone can say it and be who they are without feeling like they're judged or anything. And everyone's really accepting of like, if this person worships this person, or this person believes in that, or that person believes in that. Like it's always more fascinating than like, oh, you shouldn't do that.
And I think that's something that has changed a lot over the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years in just the witchcraft community. And in general, is back in the day, it was like, it's this and this, and this is how it is. Everything fell into a box. And I think nowadays it's more like, well, you witch the way that works for you, and I'll witch the way that works for me. She'll witch the way that works for her, and everything. So like back in the day, it was just, it like I said, it was very structured. And I see even like some of the groups and stuff that are pretty structured, they seem to be a little bit more lenient. I don't know if lenient is the right word, more flexible now than they were, I don't know, probably like 10 years ago or something like that.
I think it alienates people. And I think here's the thing. I think we all have a right to find a path to spirituality, a path to our own way to walk in our own power. And I wish that I could help people in their local communities figure out how to do this. You've got to leave your ego at the door, and you have to leave your personal beliefs at the door, which is hard for a lot of people, but just allow people to be people and connect them together and bring them in, and helping people find their own way to go just by offering a space for them has been so rewarding for me, absolutely. And it makes me feel good to know that like that was helpful to you guys, and that was helpful to other people that have mentioned that it was. I mean, I think it's a great thing. And I think as we come into this new age of what witchcraft is and how people are viewing the practices and the traditions and all of these things, I think there's a lot of good things that you can take from some of those traditions, like Sabbats and, all of the mythology and all of the, those kinds of things I think are wonderful, but being flexible, like you said, is super important.
Yeah. Definitely.
So, what would you say if you had to label your current tradition or path? Like, I know I hate this because the labeling thing, but we label things, right, Allison? I mean, that's what people do. So what would you guys label your practice if you had to like put a label on it?
I'm really bad with labels in general. I hate boxes. It's like when people talk about music, it's like, what kind of music are you into? Oh, I'm into the Norwegian death metal. Well, I'm just, I just like music. I like metal. But then same thing with witchcraft. Like people, like the most I can just say is we're both super eclectic. And it's just because we just use what ends up working for us. So. And like I said, it's just really hard for me to lock myself into any box.
Okay, fair to say.
Like, like throw it at the wall and see what sticks. That's kind of how it goes. Like you throw it at the wall, you see what sticks. So try a bunch of different stuff and see what feels comfortable for you. try to always be mindful of, you know, what you're doing and whether it's something you're allowed to do or should have access to. So, you know, being mindful of that, but at the same time, experimenting with things that you do have access to and seeing what works for you, what feels right. I would consider myself like an agnostic pagan, which it sounds really weird, but that would be the closest label as far as religion wise. And then as far as craft, it's just very curated, like eclectic, do what feels right.
Right. And I know like there's some of the stuff that we do that it does come from partially closed traditions and stuff, but we've worked with people who have been initiated and are part of those traditions and things like that, and they have given us permission to use like tiny little parts for things, like they've invited us in to do the things that we do.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So you know, I think you don't have to have a label, but some people like to, you know, have that kind of I don't know, title for themselves or whatever. I just say witch. I'm just a witch. I'm just a witch, you know. So do you consider yourself pagan though?
Yes. I consider myself pagan. Yes, I'm pretty sure you do as well.
Yeah, I do as well. Like I said, even though I don't necessarily call to specific gods or anything, I use those as their names are representative of the energy that I'm trying to work with.
Okay. So for you guys, there's not really that energy of some higher power. These energies are not.
For me.
Yeah.
Ian is different than me.
We're not the same. I'm a little bit different. Like we don't use deities or gods and stuff, or I don't use deities or gods and stuff like most people do. Usually we work with like elementals and spirits and energy and stuff like that, but there are certain deities and stuff that I do work with and that I am aligned with and or devoted to or whatever. So
yeah. I you know, and I find a lot of that now that there's really this real clear line of demarcation where people are not using religious icons as far as what their practice is about. It's really more about their energy work and tapping into their own personal power. I mean, and everybody, I think this, if it works for you and that's how you want to roll, I'm all for it. If this is making anybody's life better, whatever it is you're doing, you're not hurting anybody. It's making your life better. It's making you feel more connected. That's what more can you ask for, right? So, so I know you guys spend a lot of time in nature. Is that part of your practice, or you guys just like camping, or you guys? I know you guys do a lot of that. I'm more of a room service witch, but you know.
Yeah, I would say it's part of our practice. It's where we actually get the most done, and a lot of the learning and growing that we do happens while we're out camping. We typically always have some form of altar out there, and we do different ceremonies or rituals while we're out camping. We have a spirit that we talk to whenever we go camping. It's like our watcher in the woods, essentially.
Okay, that's cool. Very cool.
Yeah, we actually just got back from camping for almost a week. We went out on Thursday and came back Monday. So we're out there in the woods for almost a solid week.
Wow. I would be dead, guys. I want you to know.
The longer, like every day that goes by, it's harder and harder to like come back.
Really?
Every day you're out there, you're like, I could just stay. There's no reason for me to. I could just stay.
Yeah, some people that came up and stayed a couple days or whatever. I told them on, I think it was Sunday, we had to drive back down to get another thing of propane. And I told them, I was like, I'm at that point that I'm so far removed from society that it's going to take me a couple of days to readjust to being around normal people again, because I've been out in the woods and I kind of went feral, where I'm out here making and making, dedications and stuff to the forest and the forest spirits and stuff.
Yeah.
So you make sure to align with the nature spirits and the elements so do you feel like, okay, so you guys are not from Las Vegas, right? So do you feel that energy that you feel here, if you're camping in Vegas, is different than other energies?
I
nature
think
spirits?
I think that they feel different to me, because I know, like, when we go to other places to camp, like we go up to Great Basin, and that is definitely more forestry than foresty
Yeah.
than it is here. Even up in Mount Charleston where we go there, but it feels different. But we just do our thing there.
Yeah, it is something where each environment you kind of have to get a feel for what it is and what spirits may already be there and what the land is like, because all of the land spirits are going to have a different energy to them. So yeah, depending on where we go camping kind of determines who we try to talk to.
Okay, right. Do you bring offerings for the land? Yeah.
Yeah. And
What
then,
kind of offerings? What do you bring them?
well, it depends on where we're at. Like up in Mount Charleston, obviously we're going to bring a lot of water, because they're going to need water up there, because it's never going to rain enough here.
Yeah,
no
we
matter
always
what.
bring at least 15 to 20 gallons of water, which we don't go through even half of that. And so the rest of it we leave. We don't bring it back with us. We make sure to the last time we went out, we actually just planted some seeds as well up there to try and like grow some more vegetation. We planted some vegetable and herb seeds as well, so that way if those do end up taking off, then that's feeding the animals that are up there as well.
We have a little weird ritual that would make no sense to anybody else, but like people that hang around us. But we give an offering of canned peaches to the land as well.
Okay.
It's just something we get stuck in these little weird things that we do, and we just continue to do it. And anybody else were to see it or hear us even talking about it, they'll be like, "What the hell are they talking about?" But yeah.
Well, why not? Who's to say what your offering should be? Come on.
And the thing is like where we go up camping up by Mount Charleston here in Las Vegas, we go up there all throughout the year. We go up there during the winter, and we leave food and treats for the animals so that they can get through the winter, the colder months. And we go up there and we clean up. We actually the area where we were camping at this last time was really bad, full of trash and stuff. So we made a note that once the camping season is over with and people's not up there as much, we will go back up and we'll spend at least an entire day doing nothing but picking up trash and stuff, because it's ridiculous what
I can't believe that.
People, it's like, you're not going to do this at your buddy's house. You're not going to go to your buddy's house and leave trash all over the place. You're going to put it in the garbage can, but people go up there and they just trash the entire area out. It's ridiculous, like broken glass and then paper.
That's unbelievable. It's unbelievable to me. Yeah. I can't even believe people would leave their trash around like that. That's horrific. Oh, shame on you, whoever you are. That's not nice for the animals. It's not nice for the ecology there. That's terrible.
I mean, and it's something where, like, if people are interested, we can always obviously make we run we run an EOG. It's a like a geeky page on Facebook. We can post about it or even share it into Sin City Witches on whenever we decide we're going to go back, and whoever wants to go up and spend the day can go up and spend the day or a couple hours or however long and just kind of clean up. Yeah.
Let's organize an event to go clean it seriously, because we'll get a bunch of people to go up there. And then maybe afterwards we'll go eat something or something after and hang out or whatever. I don't know if anybody's going to want to hang out after they just cleaned up, but
having like a little picnic, depending on the season, and having
there you go. Yeah. See, I'm thinking restaurant. You guys are thinking we're in nature, have a picnic, Marissa. All right, there you go. Probably a good idea. All right. So you guys talked a lot about having an eclectic approach to the craft. Do you think that an eclectic approach works for everyone?
No, I really think that although I think it works for a good majority of people, I do know there are people, just from my own personal experience, who need more structure. And that's great, because there are paths for that. There are like initiation paths that they can seek out that offer that kind of structure. I've never been really good with structure like that, which is why I got in trouble a lot as a kid with my church. They didn't like that, but I know some people, that structure helps them stay focused. It helps them, if you have a deadline for things, it helps them get things done. Whereas I work better in a lot of chaos.
Right. And some of us do thrive in chaos, being one of them. So I get it. So, do you have any tips for anybody who's trying to curate an eclectic path for themselves? Because I think, unfortunately, a lot of people think that eclectic means possibly that you're not as educated, or you're not as dedicated, or you're not as clear about what you're doing.
Right.
I
And
don't believe
think,
that.
I think it's like the opposite, because I think, and obviously this isn't going to go for everybody, but like whenever you are eclectic, you're looking at more stuff instead of just like this is the one book that our tradition goes by, and you may get a couple other books here or there or whatever. But when you're eclectic, you're looking at everything. Like I have, I don't know, probably a couple hundred books upstairs in my office that
for different stuff.
For
They're
different
all
stuff,
different.
and some of it's like I'll keep because there's something in there I really like, and then some of it is just like I'm setting it aside because at some point we'll have a yard sale or something to get rid of some of the books and stuff that I don't click with.
Yeah.
But you'll never know what you click and don't click with unless you go out and you experience it, and that's one thing that me and Allison have always been adamant with doing in the local community, and just not the local community, like all over. Like when we go out of town, we always try to go to different witchy stores, and we try to go to, like, we've been to Pagan Pride in Phoenix, which was really cool. We've been trying to go to the one in LA forever, but we've never made it. But this year we're going to that one.
This year you're doing it, huh?
It's like
all right.
That's another way is you get out, you go to the different groups in your areas, and you see what they're about, and then you may click with part of it, you may not click at all, but yeah, I think like if you're eclectic, I think that not that other people aren't as well researched or well read, I think it just makes it easier for you to explore more things, because there's some stuff that we do that I know some people would not about.
Yeah.
And it's just like because of their belief system and their tradition, and that's fine. If that's what works for you, that's cool. But it's just like, there's some stuff you just have to experience for yourself just to see how it works.
Right. And it's not all about the books. It's putting it into practice, right, guys? Like, I know there's a lot of people who are really curious about witchcraft and want to learn a lot. But the real way, the reason I'm doing this show even is to help people realize that this is a way of life. This is how you move through the world. So read those books, learn, grab what you can. But remember, put it into practice. It's about empowerment. You have to do that. And you can switch and do what you want.
Yeah, you can read all day long, but until you actually start doing the things that you're reading about, you're not going to know if that actually resonates with you or not. Because you could read something and be like, "Oh, this is really cool. I really wish I could. I really want to do this. This is what I'm all about." But if you never actually do it, who's to say that when you go to do it, you might not have a very good experience with it? Or you might do it and you're like, "Oh, this feels really awkward, actually, and I don't think I like it." Yeah. So actually doing the things that you're reading about is the next actual step in your curating your eclecticism, or figuring out what works for you.
Yeah, you have to, like, I think it's one of your mottos is you have to do the magic or be the magic. You have
be the magic, be it, do it, live it, walk it, breathe it.
Try it. And then when you try it, at least do it two or three times, because maybe you messed something up one time and you didn't get any results. You got nothing. So try it again and see. I know somebody I think it was Sin City Witches, they were saying something about they're kind of worried about doing something when the eclipse was happening. And I was like, well, you know what?
Try it.
Try it. Like, unless it's something that's going to kill you.
Yeah.
Try it. And then when the eclipse is over with, try it again and
see what the outcomes are.
I just want to say something about eclipse energy, though, just to throw it out there. Probably not the best energy to be using. Listen, you can do whatever you want. Just this old witch is telling you eclipse energy is unpredictable. It is very unpredictable. And if you really like riding the wave of chaos, knock yourself out. But I think that, I keep a lot of my opinions to myself. We all know I'm super opinionated, but I keep it, I reel it in, and because I think everybody's got room for their own interpretation of things. But I think energy is energy, and eclipse energy is crazy. So
I'm very
what you gotta do.
I try everything at least once kind of approach to things. Like As long as it's not gonna like, am I gonna get super hurt? No, okay, I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, I'll figure it out.
Yeah. Figure it out. Absolutely. And how do you figure it out? You do it. You
You
work
do it,
with
and
that energy. Yes.
you also document it. Make sure that you're keeping
Keep notes. Keep records.
keep notes, because you can't just rely on your memory. If you know what happened or whatever, you have to write down like when you did it and everything, just so you can see what works and what doesn't work for you, because what may work for me may not work for Allison. What works for her may not work for me.
Yeah. It's where your energy resonates. And here's the other thing. I mean, you've got to take whatever it is you're learning, and you've got to not just do it out of the book. I mean, here's the thing. You've got to take, it's like grabbing those ideas, tapping into that energy and create it in alignment with your energy. We're all individuals. We're all vibrating at our own frequency. We're all vibrating together, but it's at our own frequency, right? So you've got to make it work.
Too. Like if you say you read about this spell and like, oh, I really want to try this spell. If you go to do this spell and say halfway through it, something tells you, don't do it this way, do it this way. Do it the way your gut tells you to do it, because that's what's calling you to do it the way that is going to work best for you.
But make sure you make a note that
you changed it, so you know next time that you changed that.
If it does work, you can do that. And if it doesn't work, you can go back and try it the other way. And
yeah, absolutely, I agree. So even though we are, all three of us here are not traditional, witches, we've got an eclectic kind of view on things. I like a lot of the traditions, like Sabbats and Espits and all of those celebrations, and tapping into that energy, and the wheel of the year, and really acknowledging the cycle of life that we live in, and being totally tapped into that. Everything is cyclical in nature, and we are part of nature. So here's my question: what's your favorite Sabbat? I know you guys celebrate the Sabbats, right? The wheel of the year, you guys follow. So what's your favorite Sabbat? What Sabbat really pulls?
I would probably go with Walpurgis or Beltane, and that's mainly because that's our anniversary as well. We got married on that day for a reason.
Yeah.
So I really like that one. As much as summer kind of sucks here in Vegas because it's so hot, that's like the beginning of it.
Yeah.
Obviously we like Samhain because
everybody loves Samhain.
You can't not love Samhain.
No, we well, I'll let you go and then I'll chime in about something else.
Yeah, I would say definitely, like I said, we picked the Beltane Walpurgis for a reason. And then I don't know, I really like Letha as well. I just think it's just neat. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, all of the Sabbats and whatnot, like I feel like they each have their own place. I love a celebration, and I love I like to do big dinner parties and stuff on them. I like to do big events for them. We change our wreath on our door for each one, so that way it's represented throughout the year. It's just kind of like a tradition thing. It's fun to have those traditions that are, because I grew up with Christian traditions, and I've definitely abandoned pretty much all of those, and it's interesting now to create new traditions. I think that's
right important. And they're personal traditions. They're things that are unique to your practice, which is great.
We do stuff in December for Saturnalia, and that goes back to
that's a Roman
with
holiday.
The Roman holiday. So we always do a pretty big celebration for that, and usually we combine that with what most people would celebrate Yule with. We kind of do it
together.
We kind of do it together. So we do celebrate Yule, but we mostly celebrate
combine
it
with the Saturnalia.
We combine them.
All right, that's fun. I like that. So you guys have any plans for the solstice coming up?
We actually were just talking about that today. I messaged her and I was like, hey, this is a really good idea, because we're part of a group, and we do a lot of Roman stuff with the people. And so Demeter is kind of like our goddess, and then we always do this thing for Persephone. So I was telling her, I was like, we should do something where where one of us escorts Persephone back down into the underworld, because that would be the time of the year where she would be going back down. And
right.
so
I think, yeah, so we're super love theatrics, I guess. Like, we love very theatrical things. So anytime we get a chance to incorporate that into witchcraft and combine them, it's always like perfect. So this idea of like celebrating by escorting Persephone and consoling Demeter and just like having this big theatrical thing seemed really appealing.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds freaking awesome. That sounds like so much fun. Absolutely. And honestly, I think being able to express yourself in that really theatrical way and incorporate that into ritual is amazing. I mean, that's what it's all about. That's how you're living that. That's your life. That's how you're putting yourself into your craft. And that's what, something I think people want somebody to tell them what they're supposed to do or how they're supposed to do it. And, a lot of people are like, am I doing it right or wrong? You guys are living proof. You can do it your own way, and it is super effective. It works,
Yeah. Like a big part of like spell work is to build the cone of power, build up energy and stuff like that. And with us, like it helps, like when we do it with theatrics and stuff like that. Because we do it when we do Saturnalia. We have like this whole big ritual thing that we do during a part of it. And again, that goes back to Persephone and stuff as well, and Demeter. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think the theatrics and the stuff like that really helps us build our power up and get it cycling.
And then that's something too we're kind of moving towards, is we're looking at doing more of these theatrical and musical type rituals. So that's our next project on the horizon, I guess, is trying to figure out the logistics of turning every ritual into almost a play or musical or
immersive,
some kind of immersive event, more so than just you stand and you listen to somebody talk about stuff.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And our idea too is to use more, I would say, modern music, but have that be anything, because people know modern songs. Like we'll say let's just go back from the 60s to now.
Yeah,
people know these songs better than some of the traditional songs that you would see like at a witch or Wiccan ritual.
Right, absolutely.
Like, I know Allison said that a lot of those songs like that never really resonate with her because it reminds her of church hymns. So she kind of gets a trigger.
Just like, I don't like
so
it.
That's something we've been working with lately, is finding contemporary music and songs that we can say, oh, well, we're listening to this song. If you listen to it, it may not be witchy or anything at all, but if you listen to it, see, right here, it's about invoking or calling down a god or something like that. So that's something that we're toying with right now.
That is honestly such an amazing idea, and I think that it would really be something that if people incorporated that concept into their own personal rituals and finding music and energy, because music raises your vibration. So if you're connecting to that music, you're going to feel so much more connected to what the ritual is going around. And you're right, there's a lot of pagan songs and chanting that feels very churchy, that feels very much like it's just a bunch of people in a different religion like recreating
I know.
Yeah. No, well, I gotcha.
It's like let's say you're having a ritual somewhere, a public ritual. So there's like 30 or 40 people there, 50, however many, a bunch of people, and you're trying to teach them all a 6 to 10, phrase song. Like that would take forever. But if you put on a song that can pull up the energy that you want for the ritual, that pretty much everybody already knows because it's been
pop music
for the last 10 years or something, like everybody's going to be able to get into it faster and sing and then hit the moment. And then later on in their life, like a week later, they may hear that song or just think of that song, and then it's helping fuel whatever magic or whatever whatever work you're trying to do. It's kind of like when you do a spell and you like set it and you forget it. But then, like, if you have this song that, like, if you associate like a music or something with that. Then you hear this song later. You may not be totally thinking about the spell that you did, but a little bit of it will be spinning in your brain and throwing it back out there into the universe. So you're helping fuel the spell that you
Right. You're reconnecting to that energy because you've now associated that. That's really great. That's
it's
amazing.
like when you get on a merry-go-round, and at the beginning, somebody has to spin it really, really, really fast, and then you just have to stand there and just bump it every once in a while and keep it going. It's like that. So like if you connect a spell or a ritual or whatever with a song, and then whenever you hear it, it'll just help spin it up a little bit, get it going again.
Get it going again. I like this. This is great. So is that what we're doing at our next SBIT?
Yeah, that's
all right. I'm excited. I can't wait. Yay. The LoveCrafts are doing the next ritual that we're doing in our circle, and I'm super excited. Yay. I can't wait. So all right. So let's talk about the new person who is feeling that witchy vibe, that's looking for a way to connect to it. And I know the way a lot of people start out is by reading books, right? Mm-hmm. What would you guys say has been the most helpful, like just general book that you read, on your journey that you could recommend to people?
I think I connected with, was it Matt Oren's Psychic Witch?
Yes.
That one was a great book. Like that one really had a lot of information, and I liked that it was very like relatable. It wasn't something where somebody was, so a lot of witch books get really up in their head. The authors kind of, you get a little bit of ego in them, and they kind of talk in a way that you're like, if you don't know this, then you just don't know. And you're like, I don't know though.
Right.
In that book at all. It's very like down to earth.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with that. Matt Oren's book is a really good book. He has a new book that's about to come out too that I'm really excited about.
I saw that. I'm kind of excited for that one too. Hey, Matt Oren, you should come on the show and talk about your book with me.
You know what? He probably really would, because he's a super down to earth guy. Yeah. And I know he talked to one of my other friends. She lives up in Washington now, Michelle Halloween, and he went on like her YouTube show, and she's just like a normal person. She's not like super famous or anything. So I can almost guarantee that you could probably get him to come on and talk to you whenever he starts doing that.
That's fantastic, because that book looks really cool.
We'll make it happen.
I'll make it happen, LoveCrafts. I love you guys.
Going to like a book for me, it's the old one, but it's the first book club book we did with you was the Buckland's Big Blue book. Because
Big Blue. I love Buckland's Big Blue.
It's mainly because I had it back in the 90s. It was like the first witch book that I purchased, I think, probably, that I can remember purchasing. So, and that one just had a big impact. So yeah, I like that book is still a really good beginner book.
That one's a really good like discussion book. I felt like it was a really good book to not necessarily follow everything that's said in the book, but discuss everything it said in the book as far as why it applies or why it doesn't apply to you.
I'm going to agree with you guys. I like that book too. I like both your choices. I'm in on that for sure. All right. So what about like podcasts? I know you guys listen to podcasts and different shows. Is there any or blogs or anything, any of those that you can recommend to anybody? And if you can't, that's fine. But if there's any that you think are particularly helpful, useful, interesting, what do you guys think?
There's one that's I listen to a ton, so it's hard to pick any, but there's one called 3 Pagans and a Cat, and
I know that one. Yeah.
That's a really good podcast, and they have discussion, and sometimes they have people on their show and they butt heads with them about stuff. Like they'll bring up stuff. Oh, you said this in your book. This sounds a little transphobic, and they put the person on the spot and make them kind of sort of explain
accountable.
Yeah. And it's like, because if you have something that's in there, especially like if it's an older book, because they had somebody on there one time and she had written a book, I don't know, a decade or two ago, and not that it was, for the time it wasn't transphobic, but looking at it now.
Well, I mean, that's going to happen with a lot of books, I think. I mean, I'm 51, so a lot of those books had some questionable stuff in it,
Definitely. But yeah, There's a lot of good podcasts out there, but there's also a lot of bad podcasts out there too. But yeah, I would definitely go with Three Pagans and a Cat. I've been listening to
All
that
right,
for
there
a
you
couple
go.
years now, and those people, they've always done good.
I don't really listen to I don't even listen to the podcast that I'm on.
Okay. Allison.
Like
I
I've been
hear
on
you.
podcasts and I don't even listen to those ones. I'm like, you just tell me how it was. Did I do good? Okay, great, thanks.
I hear you. All right. Well, Three Pagans and a Cat, guys. That's the recommendation from Ian. He thought that one was pretty good. So, what about all of do you guys notice a lot of nonsense about witchcraft posted or crazy things? I mean, on social media. Come on, let's do it, guys. What's something that really gets on your nerves? Seriously.
I really don't like phishing posts, like where people will post a picture of themselves. What do you see in my aura? Like, go to someone who reads auras.
Yeah.
I never understood that either. It's a little weird.
Yeah, or like people will post stuff and it's like they're looking for like a magical answer to something that is very, very mundane and non-magical. Like not everything has a magical answer to it.
No, you're magic is not the fix to everything. It's just
oh my
not.
God, my tooth hurts really bad. I think someone's doing like go to a dentist.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what you need to do.
You go to a dentist and it's not that, then we'll look elsewhere. But step one, go to a dentist.
Go to a dentist. Yes, absolutely. And I think here's the thing that people don't realize. Magic isn't just being a witch isn't just about magic. It isn't just about doing spells. It's about raising your awareness and your vibration and how you connect to the world around you. And the more that you are aware of the energies that are at play around you at all times, when you're aware of the spiritual side of yourself and you're able to look at the shadow and light within yourself and be honest about that you live your life in such a way where you don't always have to be doing spells. Things kind of just align the way they're supposed to be. You're walking the path in balance with the energies around you. And then that's the important thing.
We do a lot of like supernatural stuff too. And I feel like to be really into or really look at supernatural things, you have to be a pretty big skeptic yourself. Like
True.
You have to be able to look at things and kind of was this something that was supernatural or can I explain it another way? And you should always try to like figure out avenues with which to explain something before jumping to that's a supernatural thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. If any, and I've had my share of supernatural things happen, but I want to rule out every natural thing first before I'm going to check it off as supernatural. Exactly. And every time I have a toothache, I'm not being cursed. I mean, that's just insane. You cannot be an effective witch if you are constantly feeling like everyday things that are going wrong are black magic or, that's not even the word, negative magic, whatever you want to call it. Like somebody's doing something to you. I mean, honestly, nobody really cares about you that much. I'm just saying. I mean, honestly, that's a lot of effort.
Yeah, I know like recently the last month or so, like my lower back has been really bad. And I was like, somebody throwing some shit at me. And then one of our buddies, I think it was our buddy Fred Lee, was like, well, have you messed with anybody enough to make them do that?
Yeah.
I was like, well, no. So I go see a doctor, get an MRI. I have arthritis in my lower back. So it's the arthritis coming at me.
Absolutely. And I think that when you're under cross conditions like that, where there's somebody really who's doing something, it's usually more than one thing. That's the fact of the matter. It's usually more than one thing. And it's usually, I'm going to say 9 times out of 10 that I feel that energy. If I take a look at my astrology chart and look at what's going on in my chart and what the malefics are doing in relation to my natal chart, reading the transits, right? And looking at that energy, I can usually pinpoint why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling outside of somebody else doing it. But and not to say I've never had anybody throw the malocchio on me, because that's happened. I've had the horns that, thrown at me before, but there's a definite difference between that and everything is cyclical. We talked about that earlier. So of course your luck is going to be cyclical. Things are good and bad times, right? This is the wave we ride, right? As human beings, you have to just be ready to ride that wave, ride the energy, and realize sometimes,
that everything's gonna be great. Like you
yeah,
have to know that like you're gonna go through ups and downs. That's part of life, and you can't always blame your downs on someone else.
no, you can't. And, not for nothing. And like I said before, when you're living your life in a magical way, when you're living your life in alignment with your divine purpose, let's call it, right? And you're living in that energy, all of the things that happen to you, there's a lot of good things that are going to happen, but the bad things don't seem as bad because you feel empowered to be able to face them and deal with them because you're not coming from a place of fear. You're coming from a place of empowerment. That's the beauty of witchcraft. That's the beauty. It's not about, casting a spell for somebody to make them love you, or it's about yourself and your connection to everything, right? So being able to be empowered in that way is the most amazing, freeing thing that could happen to anybody. And
And
there's
also,
nothing evil about it at all.
like
Anyways,
whenever you are having bad luck or issues or whatever, if you actually go out and you do the magic and you do the work and all this stuff, and then positive stuff starts happening, regardless if it's because you did a candle spell or a poppet or anything else, like if good stuff is happening and you're doing stuff and it's happening, like that right there is just a boost for you. It's just going to make you feel that much better because you're actually doing stuff instead of sitting around and being, I stubbed my toe today, so it must have been that person who I cut off on the way home. They're throwing bad juju at me.
right, right. And take responsibility for your life and,
Yeah.
and use magic to empower yourself, empower the way you walk in the world, and use ritual to connect with those energies that are around all of us all the time. You are part of that cycle of nature. When you realize that and align your energy with that, you're unstoppable. Even though bad things happen, even though you get a toothache, even though, and yeah, use your magic to make your life better. There's nothing wrong with that. I know a lot of people are weird about doing, magic that benefits you.
Why would you
Not,
not?
why would
Yeah.
you not? Why
You
would
have
you
to
not
use
benefit
it as
yourself?
a tool, and that's all it is. It's not good, it's not bad, it's just a tool, and what you do with it is what's gonna determine how your life ends up. If it's a tool, use it to help yourself.
That's it. For me, it's witchcraft, and living your life in this lifestyle in this way is all about using what's at your disposal. And if you're part of the energy around you, the energy of the universe is at your disposal. The energy of the gods and goddesses, if that's your belief, are at your disposal. And absolutely for every witch, the elemental energy around you is there at your disposal. So utilize that, right? So what do you think that is the most important aspect of living the craft? Like for you, what is it that keeps you rooted in your magic? Is there something that you do every day? Do you have a daily practice? What is it that always keeps you in this realm and keeps you flowing? Because people get distracted by the mundane a lot, right?
For me, I know it's having it there in front of you, like having a constant reminder that this is the life that you're choosing to live is important. So I try to do like a daily tarot card pull just to see what it thinks the energy of the day is going to be. We have these little personal altars up in our offices that sit like because I work from home, so I'm in my office all day every day. So putting something up where I can see it and it's in my eye, even if it's just in my peripherals every day, it's a
Mhm.
constant reminder. I also put up manifestation boards like that way, and again in that same like peripheral vision where I can see it every day and it's something I can think on every day. Because the more you put out, the better chances are it's gonna come. It's gonna come true. It's gonna
Right.
manifest.
Like energy attracts like energy, right? Absolutely.
Yeah,
So,
I can agree with that as well. I think also both of our connections with nature helps keep us focused on this stuff because we can tell like when it's been a long time when we haven't gone out to nature and communed with nature and stuff. We can mentally, I can start feeling fulfilling it. So
Yeah, you feel this weird disconnection. Things get more irritable more quickly. You start to feel like anxiety starts to build more. You feel like there's just this pressure on you, and that's when you know what, it's been too long, and that's when we're like, we got to go, like we got to get out, we got to go, even if it's for a day trip, preferably at least overnight, back out into the woods, into the desert, into wherever it is we need to go to reconnect, get that boost, and then we come back and it's like everything else just kind of dissolves away, and like all those things kind of resolve themselves.
yeah, last month we went to this event in Southern California called Pacific, Pagan Community Retreat. It's like a camp out thing, and it's at this place called Echoshire in Hemet, California, and it used to be a dump. And so this guy is like
a dump. What?
Yeah, everyone would just dump their stuff in this land.
So this guy is like reclaiming it. He's building these little hobbit echo homes. And when we went this last year, I was getting sick about the time we got there, but the entire time I was there, I was not sick at all. And because the land knew that we were there to make it better than what it had been. We just felt so at peace there. And then literally the second we left, we got about halfway back to Vegas, and then all of the symptoms of the cold I had literally hit me at that point. And I was like,
wow. It had paused for that weekend and then just came back.
It just came back. Oh my gosh.
So that's wild. Our connection with nature is a really big part. That's one of the reasons why we bought the house that we bought, is because it has this really cool tree in the backyard. The tree was half dead when we first moved here, but now it's like we freak out every spring because these new buds are growing off of it. When the first spring we were here, this tree was almost dead. Yeah. But now, because we're taking care of it, we're putting good energy into it. We have an altar set at the bottom of it that we make offerings to. We gave it a face. We put a pan face on it. So it is like one of our idols here. And it's like the tree is like flourishing now, when it was literally half dead when we first moved in here.
Wow. Yeah, trees here don't fare well sometimes. We live in the desert. Yeah. I've got one good tree and one half. Well, it's dead. It's a dead tree in my backyard. So yeah. But yeah, the trees, palm trees do okay though. But that would make sense, right? Yeah. My connection with nature. My connection with nature consists of, I sit out in my backyard every morning for a little while, and I just kind of chill, quiet, no phone, and just kind of connect. That's as far as it goes for me, guys. I mean, I was a Girl Scout when I really was. I went, camping in a cabin though, not like in a tent.
Nothing's wrong with that. Nothing's wrong with camping in a cabin. Cabins are great. Like when we go to Flagstaff a lot. Flagstaff, Arizona is really close to here. It's like 3.5 hours. And that place is really nice. And when we go out there, we always get a cabin. We go out there. We try to go out 2 or 3 times a year.
I could totally do that. If there's a cabin and indoor plumbing, I'm good. I'm okay. I just need to feel like that the bears aren't going to eat me when I'm sleeping or something and come grab me out of the bed.
Because Mount Charleston, there are no bears.
No bears at all, huh? Okay. See, I don't know. What about mountain lions, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. Still not something
we've never had one come through our camp. As much time as we spend out there, we've never had anything. Yeah. The last time when we were out there, we had a snake come through, but it was a gopher snake. It was totally fine. It was really, really cute.
But aren't there rattlesnakes? We're in the desert. There's rattlesnakes, scorpions. I don't know.
But up at Mount Charleston, especially until you get like August, it still gets so cold up there that there's not a lot of rattlesnakes aren't going to really be up there. I mean, they can be, but they're pretty much going to stick to themselves.
And that's the thing. Pretty much everything out there, as long as when you go out there, you're aware and you are respectful. We've never had any issues or anything.
Well, that's good. And you probably get the magic perimeter set up, right? Yeah. So the creepy crawlies are like keeping their distance. There you go.
Well, we invite most of them in, honestly.
You're like, oh, come in, scorpions and rattlesnakes, come chill with us. No, come on. Well, you know what? I probably should try doing it again. Maybe go connecting.
You should come camping with us. It is like an experience you'll never have. we are very prepared for the wilderness.
All right. I may take you up on that. I'm thinking I want to embrace life a little more and try a lot of new stuff as of late. So maybe I'll give it another chance. I haven't done it in a very, very long time. So so anybody watching, if you are interested in coming on this show and talking to me about your magical life and and having a conversation with me, this new segment that I'm doing on Wednesdays, Witch Talk Wednesdays, is for anybody who is living the craft, whatever that means to you. And it can be whatever tradition, whatever path. I'm open to everybody. So, and I want to hear about what you're doing, how you're living a magical life. And I know that the people watching, we get to see a lot of famous people all the time in the, pagan famous. We get to see them all the time. I really want to talk to the people who are like living their lives this way. I think we learn more from each other. Don't you guys? I do. And talking to other people. So, yeah. And I don't know what the community's like in your area. But look for, different groups. If you are new, look for people who are, doing teaching and community events. And yeah. And if you need any advice on creating that for yourself, send me a message, because I was able to do this in Las Vegas. And I think I've done it pretty effectively and really tried to make it super inclusive, and people seem to feel comfortable, and we do lots of fun stuff. And if you need any advice on trying to do that for yourself and your community, I would love to help to do that. Okay, so LoveCrafts, any parting words for the people, or what do you think?
Well, I know like the different places that it's streaming at, there was like questions and stuff that came up. If anybody has any questions that were unanswered, or they actually want to know anything more or anything like that, like reach out to us. You can find us on Sin City Witches. You can find us, like I said, we have our own Facebook page for a group that we run. It's EOG,
the Esoteric Order of Geekdom.
But you can
that name, Esoteric Order of Geekdom, guys. If you didn't get that, it's a fabulous name.
Yeah, but if you have any questions or anything, or if you want any clarification on anything we said, or if you just want to talk about magic or supernatural stuff or anything like that, we're always open to conversation.
And if you're watching this and have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, I would totally appreciate it. My YouTube channel is Touch of Magic. The link is here. If you go on there and subscribe, I would be eternally grateful to all of you. And then you'll be able to see all of the cool shows that I have planned coming up, and all of the cool witches, pagans, paranormal investigators, high magicians, ceremonial magicians. I'm even going to try to get some UFO people, starseed people on. I also, anybody out there who has any information on Atlantis or Lemuria, I'm trying to find somebody who is at least somewhat of an expert on that topic and wants to talk about it, because I am fascinated and want to know. So, all right. So the next show that I have happening is Saturday, June 4th. I'm going to talk to Psychic Medium Robin for our new other segment is Psychic Saturdays. So I'm going to bring some really talented readers and mediums and people who have different metaphysical practices on Saturdays and talk to them for an hour. And I thought that was a kind of cool thing. We'll see how that goes, but she's fantastic. And she's a medium, and she's actually local here to Las Vegas. If you are a medium and want to jump on a Psychic Saturday, let me know. I'm booked for June, but July is open. All right. So thanks for everybody for being here. We will see you next time. And until then, remember to be the magic, because you are the magic. And that is a fact. And we will see you soon. Bye.